Cave art.
They done cave art, all that other kind of stuff. If they hadn't have did that, how would we have even knew these periods existed? This man just sat around and always complained about life, or complained about, oh, it's a cloudy day. I don't like a cloudy day. It's a rainy day. And you pray for rain. So when you get rain, you're going to complain about the rain. And then when you get too much sun, you're going to complain about the sun. And then we just complain too much instead of doing what we have to do to satisfy life itself. And that's to pick up. We were put here to cultivate.
Lonnie is not a street artist. Lonnie is displayed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art and is one of the most important living artists in America. So I would say calling him a street artist would be a little bit insulting.
Some will never see me as that. They will never take my suggestions as messages or information, or because I'm not saying that I'm a palm reader. I'm not out there saying that I'm a fortune teller. I'm not out there posting anything. I try to post, first of all, thumbs up for Mother Universe. Appreciate Mother Universe and all within that, and then we got something good going on. I try to post to the students, beware, but cautiously move through life. Because everything up underneath you is moving, and it's not always going to stay like that. So
I don't believe, I just have to interrupt, some of the people are wondering if you're, what street artists, these are all words that are, no, I don't think street artists are less respectable. I think street artists are artists. I think
I'm an American artist.
You're an American artist.
I got my title from the Lords of London in 1980. And before then, I didn't know what art were. But from 5 years old up until today, I'm still doing the same thing, going up and down ditches and creeks, going down to the river. I'm studying things. I'm studying the waste, the trash, the garbage, and the debris. And I took that garbage and that trash and that debris, and I took it off a lot of landfills, because that's what my grandmama did. But see, when I take and use or utilize these things, but when somebody else come along and take a picture of what I've done, and then 5 years later, they be considered to be some of the best artists on earth. I don't mind them. I don't mind, because I'm a teacher. I don't mind that.
I'd like to do something. I know, and I don't think you should. Let me. I have something I want to do.
You should put me on the back burner.
Lonnie, I've got a book here of your art that's published. Would you mind coming over here?
I got to sign that for you too. Did I sign it already?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yes, I signed
Yes, you did, to Brad.
Yeah.
But listen, Lonnie, why don't you show us some
Look
of...
at that right there, the one right there. That's honoring my grandmama. 3 shelves to bury you with. It's the title of it. I know the title.
What is this one called?
3 shelves to bury you with. That's about elaborating or putting elaborate grave protections around the grave. When I went to El Paso and I went to Juarez, the Day of the Dead, and I saw how exotic they make the graves look, how beautiful. They took flowers every weekend. They had flower days, a day just for flowers. Us in America, we wasn't taught to care for our ancestors. We wasn't taught to care about the spirits of our ancestors. No matter how hard our ancestors, our grandfathers, grandmothers, or our parents had worked for us, we wasn't taught to appreciate them.
Do you think art?
Like we was taught
do you think art has been turned more into a commodity than a ritual in America?
So. I think it's.
You think it used to be more
like a thing to some people? It's a pretty thing to put on the wall.
A decorative. Do you think that the decorative arts are less valuable, for example?
I don't think that they're any less valuable because they're coming from...
Because a lot of your art...
And I think art should be put into some type of educational... When you're distributing information about education, you want to let people know that these things, this is a part that humans have been doing, and art and music were some of the first,
Here, film me. I have to
Okay.
Keep talking though. I have to.
Okay,
plug
that's
the
Brad
phone
over
in.
there. He's trying to find some way to.
Plug it.
But again, what I'm saying, audience, if you are listening
They
at
are
what
listening.
we're saying, is that art is something that allows us to be educated even further. Even if the artist, I think if the artist is self-taught, that artist have something to teach you. If that artist is going out, such as
Most
when
rock and roll musicians are self-taught. If you look
listen
on the
at me,
Nas
listen at me
stuff.
about this right here. Mr. Jimmy Lee Southers, when I first met him, he was a man that knew pigmentation. He took bushes and weeds and flowers of different colors, and he matched them down in different pigments, and that's what he made his paints with. So it's
Earth
what we
pigments.
take. It's what we take. It's just that I took his bed and I took 3 shelves, and I honored my grandmother with that. Call it the shovel the shovel to bury you with. Cause my grandmama actually dug graves. She dug the 3 little
Your
girls.
grandmother dug graves.
My grandmother dug 3 of the graves for the 3 little girls that was in the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. That's what I did that in honor
In Birmingham.
in Birmingham, Alabama.
So,
That's where I was born and raised, one of 27. My mother
and so
had
would you tell the
27
audience,
children out
because
of
I don't know
32.
that all the audience maybe, I don't know that
I
all.
mean, they have to go online and they have to Google Lonnie Holley or
Who is a
Lonnie
predator? Who is a predator?
Who is a predator?
I don't know. Somebody just wrote predator. I don't like that word.
A predator is it to me. If they're asking the question, who is the predator? A predator to me is something that other bigger creatures or whatever be afraid of. That's going to eat them up. Or you understand what I'm saying? It's like you seeking to get something. And so if you all think that I'm a predator, then hopefully I'm eating up your trash, your garbage, and your junk and your debris. And I'm talking about what we're going to have to suffer because of what is being thrown away in the ocean. How much trash, garbage, and debris is in the bottom of the ocean that a lot of you all don't even go on YouTube or go on Google and try to find the information of how to rid this or how to give contributions to people that is going to create the machinery to move it. So, again, what you all think about me are the names that you all give me. You're going to give me those names anyway. You're going to appreciate me or not appreciate me.
Lonnie, what do you think about the connection between African American artists and indigenous artists like Native Americans?
I think African American artists have an inheritance because if you look at my DNA or my lineage, then I traced my lineage and I found out my mother and her lineage came from the Yoruba tribe. So
Say that again?
From the Yoruba tribe in Nigeria. Okay. So if I'm from a kind of, I don't always want to say the beginning of something, but if there are beginnings of when art was created or first created, and art were created in areas so far back in time until we have to spend a lot of money to either research and find out the truth about these things. A lot of times people don't want to hear the truth, so they're going to put you in a category anyway. So that's what, my thing is.
But specifically, Native American.
I'm going to do till I die.
Native Americans and Black vernacular artists. Do you think there's a connection or
I think what Native Americans have learned, those that were some of the first migrators, because you got to remember these ships and ships and ships and ships and ships and ships and ships over centuries and centuries and centuries have been making journeys as far as kings could commission them to do so. So we don't want to just say that one particular body of humans is the first of any place. We want to try to do research and find out who was the who is the real native of America, who is the real founders of the first tribes, as one would say. This is something that's going to really, really get you into confusion when you have to go before any judgment and try to say, I got this information now. I'm going to prove that that these people was before those people. So I try not to put anybody in front of anybody, but in their whole term of that piece, what you're looking at, not Olympic rings, that's what it's called. But if you look at it in a circular manner, it look like a universe that I did with one bicycle rim or a drum rim. See that drum rim?
Yeah.
That's a drum rim and all kind of.
And did you make this in Alabama?
I made that in Alabama.
And where did you?
That was put on exhibit for the 1996 Olympic Games here, and because of the way that we was being treated then, I called it.
How were you being treated?
It was like we was being treated like we didn't fit. We didn't, because they had 5 rings, and that was very, very. They said it was very, very expensive to put those 5 rings on exhibit. Where I had questioned myself. And I also question the spirit within me. Why? And I'm telling Bill, William Arnett, the guy that actually wrote these books.
Matt's dad.
Yeah, I say, I don't fit into these categories.
What are the categories?
The category was pretty and slick and
Commercial.
Painted. Everything was slick, pretty, and painted.
Designed to please.
Where those rings right there, if you give them a good shot of those rings, none of those rings was pretty.
I'm sorry, Lonnie, can you repeat that? I was blocking the mic.
I said, those rings, what you're looking at right there, none of them is shiny and pretty. None of them is made out of silver or gold. None of them is casted for any bronze purpose. So I question the spirit. How can I create something that's going to go up against 5 Olympic rings? So that piece, when I created it, I called it, the title of it is not Olympic rings, because I bent the piece of metal there, and I also found every one of those rings, and that was showing me these things are in the shape of a ring. So it's important for me to show thousands of people that was coming to America, that would come into these games and come into that art and see it, that I was thinking beyond this for the education purpose. I think that right there would teach so many children how to look at smaller things that their brain do not even connect with, and see that that's a ring form. You see what I'm saying? Not just the rings on my hand, or not just the rings on my arm, but you see that big old radio, a TV dial? That's on there.
Is that a TV dial?
Yeah, look at it. It's like what the name of. It got a name on it.
Zenith?
Yeah. That's a big
Zenith is an interesting word. Do you know what Zenith means?
No, that's a radio dial, isn't it?
I know, yeah, it's a brand of radio, but I think a zenith is sort of a peak, if I'm not, but I could be wrong. I think it means like the zenith of an age.
This right here came off of a lawnmower. I remember when I got it. This right here was a little thing that you put it on your arm and you spin it, and some gases in there off of your muffle pipe. Here's a whole lot of different things in that piece.
And these are just weights attached by sort of ribbon.
Spring, you got to break all these things that went on bolts and nuts and things. So it actually.
The zenith, Lonnie, the zenith is the time at which something is most powerful. Orchid Light says.
Somebody said that.
Yes, so that's kind of a new meaning in your work, and in the fact that zenith is written there is
maybe
the time at which
maybe my life.
Your art was most
maybe my life is important to the
powerful.
Time. My life may be important to the time, whether people appreciate me or not.
Well, people appreciate you. I love.
Maybe after my death,
Lonnie, I don't think you have to worry about your being appreciated. I can assure you, you are my favorite artist of all time.
That piece. Right
Climbing for Power, or
Climbing for Power. It's out at the Deerhunter Museum right now.
Which museum?
The Deerhunter out in San Francisco, California.
The Deerhunter in San Francisco, California.
Yeah.
What is that museum?
Climbing for Higher Power it's about jealousy and animosity and hatred. Somebody can see you going up the ladder and you going up the ladder to do good. Hold back.